Welcome back into the Tide Talk podcast on the Believe Podcast Network. Stacey Blackwood here with Jake Thomas. Jake, how's it going, buddy?
Man, I'm doing great. Just happy to be here and ready to talk some some stuff and have a good time.
Absolutely. So, real quick before we head into all our uh, talking points tonight, I want to tell you about betonline.ag. Betonline.ag has all the latest bets and futures and prop bets and parlays that you can find, whether it's on the NBA playoffs, the hockey playoffs, baseball, just whatever you're into, golf, some of the Olympic sports as well. They're all there at betonline.ag. So make sure you head over there right now, sign up, and you'll receive a 50% welcome bonus. That's betonline.ag. All right, Jake, real quick, before we dive into our topics, I do want to kind of give a call to action here. Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel here that you're watching us on now. Hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single episode. And also make sure you subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, all the major podcast platforms. All right, Jake, now we got that out of the way. We're 74 days, believe it or not, until the kickoff of the college football season, or for Alabama at least, on September 4th there in Atlanta. So we kind of thought, well, let's talk a little bit about some of the 74s that have played for Coach Nick Saban. Right now, number 74 is sophomore Damian George from Texas, a good prospect there on the offensive line, about 6'6", 345 pounds. A guy that maybe could see some action this year, but I would say most likely next season is when you'll see him make a big impact on the team. But some of the guys before him that wore number 74, we had Jedrick Wills. Jake, just what do you remember about him aside from the dance there against Georgia in the SEC championship game?
I'll never forget that dance, man. They turned that into a GIF like immediately, and it caught on fire. Wills, what a class act. I mean, he was awesome. He got a lot of heat because it seemed like that last year he was jumping off, false start all the time, and I was one who was like, come on, dude, just listen to the snap. But overall, I don't remember him hardly ever giving up a sack. I mean, he was
solid.
Yeah, he was a lot down, tackle on the right side, man. That's huge with guys, what we do and running the ball. He was a great run blocker as well. So I think he got out in got to the second and third level on a bunch of runs that last year. So, he was a class act for sure.
Yeah, he was a great player. He protected that blind side for Tua there, playing right tackle for the left-handed quarterback. So he was a great offensive lineman. Obviously, got picked in the first round by the Cleveland Browns. There had a really good rookie season there with the Browns, kind of part of their rebuilding and their resurrection of their franchise. Protecting Baker Mayfield there at left tackle. So he's moved from right tackle at Alabama to left tackle now in the NFL for the Cleveland Browns, a team that I think can compete for the AFC Championship this season. It's going to be tough to beat Kansas City, obviously, there. But they have a shot. They're a good young team. They have a lot of weapons. Of course, OBJ and Landry and Baker's coming to his own. Of course, Nick Chubb's a great running back. So he's in a really good situation there in Cleveland, but at Alabama, he was just a phenomenal player. And one of those guys who kind of like Landon Dickerson, kind of left it all on the field. You didn't have to wonder if he was giving his full effort because he made every play count. And he was a fun player to watch. I got daughters, so we watched the Disney movie Moana, and he looks a lot like Maui off Moana. If anybody, he looks a lot like him. But he could, if they do a live action movie, he needs to be cast for Maui, because not only is he a big dude, but he kind of looks like him. But he was a great player at Alabama, and of course another number 74 for Nick Saban is Cam Robinson, Jake, and one similarity between Robinson and Wills, other than the jersey number, is they both like to jump off sides pretty frequently. They were all about getting some false starts for Alabama.
Yeah, they wanted that jump jump start so they can, attack, their guy and either get him off the line and get to the second level or something. But but Cam Robinson, man, he was also a great guy to watch. He was the left tackle, and he for McCarron, was with McCarron, and
yeah, he was there for McCarron and maybe even for Coker's year.
For Coker, I think so.
Maybe so. Yeah. It's kind of the years are starting to run together now.
Yeah, Saban's been there since 2007, I think.
Right.
And the talent's been pouring in since. So it's kind of all runs together at this point now. Cam, he protected AJ McCarron and Jake Coker, and did it well. And he's now with the Jaguars, I believe. And right. I just actually seen a little article talking some goob, said that they should re-sign him to a contract. I don't know why, but I mean, he's done good in the NFL. I mean, he's got very good.
He's had some injury issues, but when he's playing, he's a really good player. So Jacksonville would be smart to sign him back. They just drafted their franchise quarterback in Trevor Lawrence.
They're going to protect him.
Right, they need to protect him, and Cam Robinson's a good guy to have there at left tackle, and the truth is, I think he's probably played a little bit of guard there in the NFL as well. Yeah. So I think he's versatile. If you notice, most of Nick Saban's linemen are very versatile between the guard and tackle positions. So I think that makes them, guys like Alex Leatherwood. Some people thought that was a little bit of a reach, but when you're talking about a guy that can play right tackle for you or either guard position. I think it's a good value pick because the dude can play. I mean, he started for 4 years at Alabama, but Cam Robinson's the same way. Started, I think, since day one as a freshman there at Alabama from West Monroe, Louisiana. So another Louisiana boy making a name for himself there at Alabama. But 2 solid 74s there last I don't know, over the last 10 years or so there in Alabama. When you talk about Cam Robinson and Jedrick Wills. 2 great players. They're turning into great pros, and it doesn't seem like either one's really been in any kind of trouble. So good ambassadors for the program, and proud of both of those guys, and hope they have long, successful NFL careers.
Absolutely, man. And it's been a joy to watch them, and especially when they make the jump from college to NFL. It's I don't really watch a lot of NFL. I keep up with the Titans, of course, as everybody knows, but I like to still follow the guys that come through Alabama, and at this point, it's kind of hard to keep up with them on the NFL because there is so many.
Yeah, I've talked before about how bad of an NFL fan I am because it's hard for me to pick a team because there's so many Alabama players, scattered throughout the league that I just want to root for those guys. Right now, my team is Miami but what's weird is my 2 favorite teams are now Miami and New England, and they're in the same division. So it's I'm a bad NFL fan. You can't call. I'm a bandwagon fan. Whatever team has the Alabama player that I'm rooting for at that point in time. So I'm not a great NFL fan. So I don't get into many debates on Twitter about the NFL, but. We're fortunate to be in the time that we're in to be able to watch all these guys that are in the NFL right now. So it's a lot of fun.
It's amazing. I mean, the talent in the NFL that has, Alabama as a college when they pull up the names and beginning of the games is amazing. It's outstanding. It's
crazy. And, hey, and this is kind of a side note. Nate Oates is starting to do that with the basketball program. Of course, Avery got us started back with getting Colin Sexton for that one and done year. But it wouldn't surprise me if all 3 of the guys that are in there in the draft, they're going to be in the draft this year, and Herb Jones, John Petty, and it looks like Josh Primo as well, will be playing on the NBA team this year. So things are looking up for the men's hoops team as well.
Yeah, and a lot of people know I'm a Charlotte Hornets fan, so I know about heartbreak. But I'm hoping that they draft Herb Jones. I'm hoping I think they got like the 11 picks. I don't think he'll be that far, but their second round pick, if he's still there, you need to get him because, his son, Trey Young, plays for the Hawks. So we'll see him several times. So we'll need somebody to guard Trey Young, and Herb Jones can do it because we've seen what he did.
Well, hey,
It,
Charlotte, dude, and we were getting way off tangent here now,
I know.
but Charlotte, man, they got LaMelo Ball, Rookie
Yeah.
of the Year, man,
Mhm.
he's a dude.
They're a fun team to watch because their defense is not there yet. They're winning games like 123 to 122, or they're losing games 140 to 120. So it's got a little bit of work on, but their young nucleus is there with Melo. They got Rozier who's lights out. Miles Bridges, PJ Washington. There's talent there, and we're just going to keep getting better, hopefully.
Yeah, they just need to get a defensive anchor there.
Yeah,
Like you said, they give up a lot of points, so
yeah,
they
it's
can
awful.
they can score with anybody. It's just
Mm-hmm.
trying to get those stops in the key moments there down the stretch. But
Yeah.
if you just now tuning in, if you kind of fast forward or something, and you're
I
hearing
don't
us talking
blame
about, if you're hearing about the Charlotte Hornets, you are still listening to the Tide Talk podcast. We
you.
just kind of went off on a tangent there,
Yeah.
but we're going to get back on track now. And Jake, the last thing we're going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, is something that once again got brought up on the J Boy show today,
Yep.
and Jake kind of reached out to me and asked me my thoughts or each of our thoughts on
Yeah.
that, and so we thought that we would kind of get on here and kind of explain, what we think about the Nick Saban versus Bear Bryant discussion. Who is the GOAT? And Jake, it really is something that's kind of starting. It really started probably, I guess, the last championship that Saban won. The
Mm-hmm.
conversation started, heating up then. But now that Saban has surpassed him, it's like people have stopped talking about it because they don't really want to say that Saban is better than Bryant.
Right.
It's almost blasphemous to say that, because we're lifelong Bama fans. Of course, we were not alive for the Bear, but we know all
Right.
about the Bear. Our parents have taught us all about the Bear. But
Yes. Your dad,
right,
especially.
it's so it is hard to say that somebody has surpassed the Bear, but uh, I think that you can say that now. And just kind of, what are your thoughts, Jake, when you look at the two and compare the two? Do you consider Nick Saban to be greater than Bear Bryant?
Well, I'm going to steal your thunder a little bit because you have said this many times in our chat. Whenever we talk about GOAT as LeBron James to Michael Jordan, it's two different eras, and so Saban and Bears, two totally different eras. But I'm fine with with people saying, well, Bear was the GOAT in that time frame. Nick Saban is now. That's fine. But overall, if you've got to have one, to me, it's Nick Saban. He's only lost 23 games in 14 years at Alabama. And his one year that he did not really do that good was his very first year. We went 7-6, and everybody knows that horrendous loss to UL Monroe, which they still have not let us down. Let it go. They play us again, it'll be a blowout. But anyway, so it's okay to say Saban is the GOAT. And if Paul Bear Bryant was still alive, I guarantee he would say Saban has surpassed me, and I think he'd be okay with it.
Yeah, I just think that, especially some of the, I'm going to call them old timers, people that are our parents' age and older, or maybe 45 and up or so, somewhere along those lines. It's hard to let go of the fact that somebody could possibly surpass Bear Bryant, because
Right.
and I'll say this, they're two totally different types of, not just coaches but people. I think maybe Bear Bryant, as far as a greater impact overall on the sport, on the state, he probably did have that, simply because he was, part of getting the first African Americans on the team, and
Right.
integrating the school, and all that type of thing. And then also kind of bringing Alabama, when he took over the program, it was a catastrophic mess. And he really just completely turned the program around. And
Mhm.
Saban did too, but like you said, we're talking about two different eras and two different time frames. Bear Bryant got to Alabama in the late 50s.
Right.
So, that's a lifetime ago. So
Yeah.
so Like you said, it's hard to compare, and like you said, I talk about it all the time in all our group chats and
Mhm.
with anybody that wants to have a GOAT discussion, regardless of sport or athletes. But obviously, probably the one that gets talked about the most is the Nick Saban, Bear Bryant, and
Right.
then the LeBron James and the Michael Jordan.
Hmm.
And to me, you're really just splitting hairs
Yeah.
between all of those. I mean, in the LeBron James, Michael Jordan, are you looking for somebody who's going to get you the bucket when it matters? Or are you looking for
Right.
somebody who's going to make the correct basketball play?
Hmm.
So, I mean, what do you want? Because Michael Jordan's going to make the clutch shot. Not that LeBron James can't, because he
LeBron
can
does. Hmm.
and he has. That's something
Yep.
that's kind of been overblown. Then, but LeBron, he's going to make the basketball play that is the right play. If he
Right.
drives to the goal at the last second, he's got three guys on him, and he's got a dude that shoots 45% in the corner wide open for three. He's going to kick the ball out to him
Yeah.
because
Exactly.
that's the correct play to make. So
Hmm.
it's just you split hairs between, and you can go to all the flopping and all that, but like that's also part of the different errors. There
Right.
was no such thing as flopping back in Jordan's day. That
Right.
just didn't exist. That's something that's just recently started to happen.
Hmm.
Uh, I say take advantage of whatever you can take advantage of. If you
Yeah.
can get a call by flopping, flop.
Right.
I mean, I mean,
That's smart
duh,
basketball. I mean,
duh.
that's a smart play, like you said. You know.
But then getting back to Bear and Nick, um, Bear I think had the greatest impact on the
Yeah.
state of Alabama, is for not just for football, but kind of like I said, getting the first African American on the team, and that kind of started, and then, but not that Nick Saban hasn't done great things off the field, but something like that's a generational type thing. I mean, Saban could never one up that, so to speak.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, from that perspective, I would give it to Bear. But as far as being on the field, making in-game adjustments, I would pick Nick Saban.
Hmm. Yeah. Easily. And I don't know. You may know a little bit more than I will on this, but I won't bring it up. I don't know what kind of team Bear had, or returning to him when he come to Alabama. I know what Saban had come, when he come in. I mean, Mike Shula wasn't, he wasn't the greatest, but I mean, he had a little bit of talent, but nothing like he did now. Plus, Saban come in with a time where we had reduced scholarships because of the textbook scandal and all that. But what Saban has built is incredible, and I don't think, I may be wrong. Clemson, maybe Dabo's done it at Clemson, but what Saban has built at Alabama, I don't think you ever see that again.
I totally agree. And of
Yeah.
course, people were having this conversation about Bear Bryant,
Hmm.
30, 40 years ago. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like I said, you split hairs, but
Yeah.
Saban won a title at LSU as well.
Right.
He's won 6 at Alabama, so he's got 7 total. In an era, the last few titles have come in a playoff era where he's got to win, an extra game besides the national championship game to be the champion. So
Now
it's
he's going to win too.
yeah, I mean it's yeah, now they keep adding
Yeah.
games. Uh,
Yeah.
we'll
Go
talk
back to
about
last week and listen to that.
no, but I'm with you. If like I told Jake, not Jake Thomas, but Jake from the J Boy Show. Gun to my head, I'm picking Nick Saban,
Yeah.
but it's splitting hairs because, like Jake mentioned, it's two totally different eras. It's impossible to compare. Uh,
You can't.
I mean, you can't. It's impossible. I mean, it's like trying to compare Babe Ruth to Barry Bonds. I mean, how do
Right.
you compare them two guys? I
Yeah.
mean, I don't. I mean, Babe Ruth looked like the most unathletic person of all time. I don't know if you've seen pictures of Babe Ruth, but he looks like a mailman. I mean, he
Yeah.
really does. But he's possibly the greatest player of all time.
And a quick story on Babe Ruth that I've seen, but apparently it was like in the second inning. he like walked the guy and didn't like the call. He walked up to the umpire, grabbed his face mask and let it go and snapped him in the face and got ejected. So I see that float around every once in a while. I was like, that's also two different. Back then there was hard nosed fighting. I mean, now they still fight and stuff, but they come together. I mean, there's hardly ever any punches thrown. It's just all shouting. Back in them days, they're throwing punches.
By the way, is there any better ejections than when an umpire ejects a baseball manager or a baseball player in a game? Like, he's so flamboyant about it. Like, he's like, they do the get out. I mean, that's like one of the greatest things in sports. But yeah, splitting hairs between Saban and Bryant, Jake.
No.
I don't know how to compare the two, but if I had to pick one, I'm picking Nick Saban, and it sounds like you are too. So
absolutely,
it's hard. If we asked our parents, I think they would probably lean. I think my dad would probably lean Saban.
I think so too.
I think he would. But people that are probably older than our parents, maybe in their late 60s and 70s and stuff like that, they're probably going to pick the Bear just out of, they're just old school.
Yeah. Here's the thing, and I'm kind of jealous about it. But you was talking about that. There's some people in this world that got to see both of them.
Right.
I mean,
is that not crazy?
That is. Many of you have even talked about it. I never imagined Alabama since '92. I mean, I was born in '91. I have seen the video of the '92 championship game, but I was a toddler. You was 2, I think, 2 or 3.
I was about 3, yeah.
Right. So I never thought we would see another championship after that point, or Alabama would be at that level again. We've talked about that when we was younger, but now here they are, and they've won what, 6, 7 championships since then.
Yeah.
So
I
mean, and may win more.
Right. But, I'm going to tell you a quick story.
Go ahead.
You're talking about how you thought how we wouldn't win another one after '92.
Yeah.
I remember after the SEC championship game when we lost to Florida after going undefeated in their regular season. I watched the game by myself. I called my dad after the game. I was so upset. I'll be honest with you, I was crying and I told my dad, I said, we're never going to win one. I'm never going to really remember a national championship. And my dad told me, I think Nick Saban owes my dad some royalty rights, because my dad told me, son, this is just the beginning. That's right. What he told me. He said, son, this is just the beginning. You just wait.
And boy, did he know.
And boy, was he right. He hit the nail on the head. Alabama hasn't looked back since.
Right. I mean, we've come a long way from that game me and you went to, where we lost at home to Northern Illinois. Yeah. Man, I'll never forget that game. That was horrendous.
Yeah. Hey, you want to know an interesting fact? PJ Fleck was on that Northern Illinois team.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Did not know that.
Is that not crazy?
I like him as a coach.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting. They had a freaking great running back, Turner. What was his first name?
I can't remember. But yeah, he ran all over us.
Yeah, he played in the NFL. Michael Turner.
Michael Turner. Yeah, that's it. Yep. Yeah.
Played in the NFL a long time. Really good running back.
He was.
This is an episode. I'm not even sure what to title this episode when we go back on this, Jake. This is just rambling.
Yeah. Tide Talk Podcast rambling, because that's all we've done, which has been fun.
Yeah, it's been fun. I don't really have anything else to add, Jake. We've talked about some of the 7 guys who wore number 74 under 7, because we're 74 days from kickoff from the time that we're recording this. So we talked about Cam Robinson, Jedrick Wills, and Damian George, who's currently on the roster right now. Then we kind of talked a little bit about LeBron James and Michael Jordan, Babe Ruth and Barry Bonds, Nick Saban and Bear Bryant, just some of the GOATs in their respective sport. And I guess we probably should have talked about Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers.
Don't get me started on that one.
This would be for you, Lane, when you listen. Yeah,
look, we'll have to have you on and have a good debate with you.
Yeah, We should do that. We should have Lane on and us
Give his points.
Let him give his point, and then we can just pile on with the facts of why Tom Brady's the GOAT.
And then we can let the people decide on YouTube.
Hey, there we go. That'd be good. That
perfect.
that might be a good possibility for like a live show or something.
Absolutely.
So that's something we can try to do. Of course, time schedules are tough to do live shows, so but we'll work something out. That's something fun we should do.
Absolutely.
You got anything else to add, Jake?
I was just going to say, I know we mainly are dedicated to Tide sports, but getting off and doing just random stuff, it's fun to do that. Just, a lot of I feel like we have, of course, I'm sure 99.9% of our audience is Bama fans, but I have seen throughout Twitter and throughout Facebook that there are some, I would call myself idiotic people who are Charlotte Hornet fans that are Alabama fans. So if they watch us and we throw in just simple stuff like that, maybe they bring them back some more, or they can just run away.
Hey, the great thing about the YouTube channel is if you have any topic that you want us to discuss, I don't care what it is. It can be anything. It can literally be anything. We'll talk about it. Mm-hmm. We may not know a lick about it, but we'll talk about it.
Oh, yeah,
if there's fun. Anything we like is to hear ourselves talk. So, so if you got something you want us to talk about, leave it in the comment section below, and we'll be sure to talk about it on the next episode, or whenever we can get to that specific topic. But yeah, we're here for you guys, the listeners and the viewers. So, and we certainly appreciate y'all. One last time, make sure you go to betonline.ag for all your sports betting. They have that online casino that's open 24 hours a day. You can play blackjack, poker, roulette, all the casino type games, and of course they got all the parlays, the prop bets, the futures there at betonline.ag. And then make sure you subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you listen to podcasts at, and then subscribe and hit that notification bell here on our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single episode of the Tide Talk podcast. All right, Jake, we're going to head out now. If you don't got anything else to add, make sure you follow me at Blackwood89. You can follow our podcast Twitter feed at Tide Talk Pod. And you can follow Jake. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Jake. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I was going to say, it's right there for you guys.
There you go. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot. They're right there on the screen.
Yep.
All right, guys. Hey, we're going to head out now. We certainly appreciate everybody. Like I said, make sure you leave a comment below on what you think between Nick Saban and Bear Bryant, and then also future topics for the podcast. We're going to head out now, guys. Y'all take care. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.